This is Wednesday's Daf Yikshtei Halech. So we're continuing to talk about the different menachos and the nesachim, which korbanos require smicha. Now we're talking about the shtei halechem and the lechem hapanim. The shtei halechem, the two loaves of bread that we do for Shavuos, is niloishes achas achas. You need one at a time. Then the ne'efes achas achas. You bake one at a time. Lechem hapanim, on the other hand. So when it comes to the kneading, niloishes also achas achas. But when it comes to the nefes, when it comes to the baking, you don't do one. It's 12 loaves of bread. You don't do one at a time. You actually do shtayim. How do we know that? The Gemara will say, ubetfus hoya oisa. They actually had a mold. They put the challah into the mold. And when you remove it, you put it again into a mold. You don't want the bread to fall apart. It could be brittle, so therefore you put them back into a mold. Says what? First of all, how do you know that you do only when it comes to kneading, you do one at a time? That's what we learned. It says in Pasuk Shnei Esrainim. It says we say this on Shabbos. You should take the flour and bake it 12 challahs. 2 esrainim is each challah, right? Total 24. So Shnei esrainim, it says in the pasuk Yia challah achas. So obviously you do one challah at a time. When you learn out, you need one at a time. Minayin, how do you know she'af shtei halechem kach? And how do you know when it comes to the shtei halechem from Shavuos, you also need one at a time? Tamalaymer, it says in the pasuk Yiyah, Shnei Esrainim Yiyah, which is extra. Come and tell you there's something else as well. That the shtei halechem also you need one at a time. Umenayin shafiyos and shtayim. How you know when it comes to the baking, at least when it comes to the lechem hapanim, you do 2 at a time. Tamalaymer, it says in pasuk, what do you do with the lechem hapanim? V'samta oisam. Shtayim arachas, you place them in plural, so it means 2 challahs at a time. So once we did this, we established that's how you do it by the lechem hapanim, maybe shtei lechem the same. It says oisam, only them. So you learn 2 things out of oisam. First, you learn oisam that you need two loaves of bread to bake at a time from the lechem hapanim, and then you tell me, I'll tell you, but not the shtei halechem. Hi oisam hoafik, you use it already. If it's only for one drasha lema kro, I should say v'sam tem, place them. My v'sam to oisam, entirely extra word show. I'm not tired to you. Let me 2 dinim. Okay, tell them learn. V'sam to oisam, you should place them betfus in a mold. So the Gemara says shloisha tfusim, and there were 3 molds. First of all. First thing is you put it inside a mold when you need it. But dying he botzik, it's still dough. So and we'll see in the Gemara what exactly the fus was, what the chalos look like. If it looked like a boat, or it looked like sort of a box, as we'll soon see. And you want the dough to be shaped this particular way, so you have this mold. That's number 1. Number 2 is you had another mold, but it could mean the fus hoila. Then it was like another fus betaner inside the oven. So Rashi learns that they actually placed the bread inside the mold into the oven. Taisa doesn't like that at all, because we'll soon say that we say the bread might swell, but if it's inside a mold, how does it swell? And Taisa said generally we always were roide. We always, they used to paste it onto the sides of the oven. So in Taisa learns over here also they paste it outside the mold, the bowls around it to keep it in check. And then Kadesh Shalatis Kalkush get ruined. And after it came out of the oven, you put it into another oven. Yeah, sorry, when you take it down, you don't want it to fall apart. Now the obvious question is, why didn't you just put it back into the first fus? Even the afilos, since you baked it enough, it swelled. So it takes the raya from here that it wasn't inside a mold inside the oven, because then it wouldn't have swelled so much. It wouldn't have it would be contained. That's what his learns is outside the mold. Anyway, even when we learn, now we're going to have an interesting machlek is the shape of the lechem hapanim. Lechem hapanim, how would they make the shape of the lechem hapanim? You'll see, Rashi himself has pictures and diagrams. It was like, and this is what we learned before. So it was like an open box, and we learned before that it was 10 tfachim long. And the shulchan was either 5 tfachim long or 6 tfachim long. If the shulchan was 5 tfachim long, then you take the 2 flaps, the 2 overhanging parts, and you lift them up vertically, so you have 2.5 tefachim on each side. And if the table was 6 tefachim wide, so then you would go ahead and you would have this overlapping. The 2 would only be 4 tefachim overlapping, and you lift the 2 tefachim on each side. So it's a box, kimiteva prutz, like an open box. So inside, so it was inside, but pretty flat, and then it went up two sides. Rabbi Yechon said, no, kimin sfino rekedes, like a jumping boat. Look at the picture of Rashi here. You have like the edge of the boat on the bottom, the keel. Then you have it goes sideways up. The top is the width is the same width like in the box, but it's only the top until it goes to a V-shaped point. That's how he learns. And it's called a dancing boat because those boats go really quick. Like an open box, that's how you know the position positioned inside the bread, and there was a flat surface there. If it was still like this boat, it wasn't very stable. Where in the world did you put the position? Because it has no base on the bottom. When it says mokim avlu on the bottom, they would add a little bit of dough to be able to put the position on that dough. So anyway, like an open box. It makes sense that you had reeds. You know, the way it was is they would have three. You have the first layer. Remember, there were 6 layers. So the first layer of bread, you put 3 poles on top of that. Then you put the next layer. You wanted a gap between the loaves of bread, so there should be air to come in, and also we don't want it to break. Ella mandama, but the one who says kimin sfina rekedes. But if you're saying it was like this boat to V shape, you put 3 in the beginning, in the end, in the middle, but it wasn't stable at all. How does it hold up? Is Bishlem Simon answers Hechavi Yossi more says Mersha Ovidlay. Again, they pinched at the ends. In other words, the boat is wide, but when it comes to the hole and everything else, it sort of tapers in, and the other end also tapers in. So you put a pole across it, it's going to wobble. So we said no. At the very end, we made it a little bit wider so that they can rest these poles on it. Okay, so you want to invite next one. Like a box so they had these upstanding pegs that were holding up the bread. Right, they're leaning against because it's a flat surface and vertical, and the pole's right against it. If it was this boat that was coming in, so there's only wide part, there's a little bit of the tip of the top of the boat. How in the world did these poles sort of hold the bread when it was only touching the bread in a little part? When I answered actually the poles are not the way you think it is. That's only according to one whole table proof. You know what the poles were like. He says here, it was like a circle. They made on the bottom of the thing, sort of like a horseshoe or something, a circle, and they would put it inside, so the bottom of the boat would go right through it, and then it would sit there, and the entire boat would rest on top of that. Sitting more now, forget, we have a few issues that are only a problem if you hold teva prutz. If you hold is not teva prutz, there's no problem at all. For example, says the Gemara, this dancing boat, that it makes sense why you need it, because it wasn't that stable. Why did they sniff in? Why do you have these poles on top of each loaf of bread? Okay, if you hold the boat, obviously it's going to fall down. But if it's these flat things, they just sit on top of each other. Says more, that's not good, because because of the weight of the bread, it'll break what's underneath it. Like a boat that jumps around, then sniffing al gabi shulchan. Then we understand that the table, that the sniffing themselves are resting on the table itself. Right, because underneath the boat itself was very narrow on the bottom. It was resting underneath it. But if you tell me it's like a flat surface and sitting on the table, where did you actually place these pegs? What did it sit on? In other words, if you hold that it was a boat, you can put these pegs, this place on the table, because it didn't take up the whole table. But if you hold that as a flat thing, it took up the entire table. Where did you have these pegs coming from? So it came from the ground. They were standing on the ground, these pegs. That's where they started out. That's how the question. You put on the ground. And I said, yes. The one who says there was a boat is sitting on the table because there's plenty of space. And the sniffing is sitting on the ground. Who does it go? The following. The bread is supporting these sniffin, and the sniffin are mamidin alechem, and the sniffin are supporting the bread. How's it? Who said that? Command Lama means Sfina Kedes. It only goes according to one who says Sfina Kedes, then they're supporting each other. Meisrael, I'll ask you a question. Kamin Kaved, we're asking a question now. The one who says Sfina Kedes. Kamin Kavedes Hayila Betana. He says that mold that we said that was inside the oven was sort of was like a kavedes, which is sort of round. In fact, it was not round. It's like a square tray. Square tray. So we see clearly from that what? That the bread rested on a square tray, which means it was a flat surface. But if you look like it was a boat, what's it doing in a square tray? How's it going to hold? So that the top, the surface of the lechem apanim sort of fit into a square mold. And that's because of a boat. It's only the surface that it was full width. In fact, we look at Brisa. We actually look at the Brisa similar to the one who holds like Rabbi Yechon. Now, with the Sfina Rekede, the Tanya, we learn. It says in the Brisa, Arba Snifin Shalzov Hayisham. There were these 4 sniffing, these vertical pegs, Befut Solim, Berashay, and that came out protruded, and from the tops, Kamin Dakranim, and it came out like little, like little spears and like reeds. That they supported the bread. It says clearly here the bread itself looked like a ship. We have another question. Lechem haponim, an interesting question. Regarding the lechem haponim, actually we'll pause over here and we'll continue the Gemara on Thursday.